I've seen so many incidents at office parties which really could have, potentially destroyed a career. It's just the game's not worth the candle. There's too many compliance issues now. It's just a complete minefield. And I personally have been involved in numerous incidents, and that was back in the noughties. I mean, I think the situation now is far more severe. It's far more complicated. So if I was a manager, I would not want to take that risk. It's absolutely pointless. In a risk reward analysis, the risk is too high that some very clever, talented employee who just happened to be a bit debauched, is going to be fired. And frankly, we don't really have the self-restraint in this country. It would be nice if it was France or Belgium or Switzerland or something. People could have a couple of glasses of wine and then go home happily. But in this country, we drink a lot for whatever reason.
So what are you saying? So we just stop having office parties altogether, or have an office party and serve a glass of wine and then shoo in and watch everyone out the door?
Yeah, a couple of glasses, that's your lot. Otherwise, there's two things we Brits like to do after about 4 or 5 pints, and one of them is fight, and the other one is similar, but it sounds a little similar. And it's just going to be a minefield of hands on bottoms, people who have got some simmering resentment in the office fighting each other. I've seen it in City, and of course it was these particularly lavish parties and young people getting champagne on tap, and then terrible incidents occurring. And I myself, my career could have been stillborn, and in my early parts of my career, I did some questionable things.
Geraint, hands on bottoms, fights. What sort of firms have you been working for?
Well, basically 4 different investment banks between 1996 and 2008.
Okay. Remind me to trust my fortune with your investment banks. Geraint, you're not being just a little bit lemon-faced here, a bit too roundhead. I mean, stop anyone having any fun in case someone goes over the edge. Mind you, on the basis of your experience, you look like you've lived a professional life out of a Hogarth cartoon.
Well, I mean, it was a bit like that, and I guess there is some truth to the statement that was made about it being things change. I hope things are more professional but I don't want to have my cake, and having involved myself in numerous debauched, terrible summer and Christmas parties in the Square Mile, where there was things like, I remember there was a fairground ride, and a friend of mine, and when I say a friend of mine, I'm obviously referring to myself, drank excessive amounts of champagne and then proceeded to vomit from a spinning kind of fairground ride that was about 25 feet above the level of everyone else, and that was that almost cost me my career.
Almost.
And I know I was young, and I think someone kind of pushed me out the doors, and I got away with it.
Yeah.
I remember putting the toupee off my boss at one point.
Good grief.
I'm probably judging people by my own standards, but I just don't know if we Brits and alcohol necessarily go together very well. And I think if I was boss of any kind of firm, I would just not want the hassle and the potential loss of some really talented staff. Stop it, Brucey. Sorry. Just because of, they can't handle their booze. Sorry, I have a barking dog.
No.